You know, when it comes to making those really big, high-stakes decisions, leaders are often drowning in data but absolutely starved for clarity. So today, we're going to dive into Llama Research's super unique approach to this problem. They're building what they call a governed AI factory to create intelligence that executives can actually trust and act on. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the whole signal versus noise problem, then we'll introduce this AI factory concept, peek inside to see how it works, reframe AI as a management system, and then, finally, we'll get into why governance is its secret sauce.
All right, let's set the stage. To really get what they're building, we first have to appreciate the massive scale of the challenge that pretty much every modern leader is facing.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We're all trying to operate in these incredibly noisy, multi-source environments. You've got information flying at you from every direction. How on earth do you pick out the one thing that actually matters, the signal, from all that distracting noise? And that's the big paradox, right? We have more information than ever before in history, but what's really missing is that actionable, decision-ready intelligence. It's not about the raw data. The problem is turning that mountain of raw material into something refined and reliable enough to bet the farm on.
So how do you fix that? Well, Llama Research has a really innovative answer. And they don't think of it as just another tool, but as a complete system.
They call it the AI factory. And the keywords you gotta hear are system and orchestrated agents. This is not some single giant AI model. Think of it more like a carefully designed production line, one that's purpose-built to take in all those messy, complex signals and spit out a clear, structured output on the other side. And this right here, this is a fundamental shift in thinking. A tool, like a hammer, it just does a task for you. But a management system, that structures your entire approach. For a leader, that's everything. The AI factory isn't there to give you a simple answer. It's designed to structure your judgment, which is absolutely critical for managing risk and accountability.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and go inside the factory. How does this whole system of agents actually work together to create those decision-ready outputs?
Just picture a real assembly line. At each station, you've got a specialist who does one thing really, really well. Well, in the AI factory, those specialists are AI agents, each with a very specific job. And watching over all of them is this operating layer, kind of like the factory floor manager, making sure every single step meets the same high standard of quality. And this is that assembly line. It all starts with signal extraction agents, whose whole job is to sift through that chaos and find what matters. Then, regime detection agents step in to figure out the context, basically asking, are we in a 2008-style market or a 2021-style market? From there, scenario generation agents map out what could happen next, risk-framing agents point out all the potential dangers, and then finally, the executive synthesis agent pulls it all together into one clear, concise brief for the leadership.
So because you have this super structured process, what comes out the other end is a totally different kind of output. It's one that's really designed to help, not replace human judgment.
Yeah, because the system is so structured, the output is too. It doesn't just give you a recommendation and say, trust me. It shows you its work. It makes it crystal clear what the core signal is, exactly how confident the system is in that signal, what the biggest risks are, and, so important, over what time frame this whole analysis is actually relevant.
This gets to a core philosophy here, probabilistic thinking. The factory doesn't give you those single, often misleading predictions like, the market will go up 5%. No way. Instead, it gives you a map of possibilities, a range of different scenarios with confidence levels attached. It's giving leaders a framework for thinking about the future, not a false promise of knowing it.
And at the end of the day, this whole system is built to speak the language of leadership. I mean, executives are constantly weighing trade-offs, managing risk, and making tough calls under pressure. This approach gives them outputs that line up perfectly with that reality.
But look, none of this matters one bit if a leader can't actually trust the output. And that brings us to what is maybe the most important piece of the entire system, governance.
Trust isn't just assumed here. It's literally engineered into the system. Every single piece of insight can be traced all the way back to its original assumptions. It's labeled with a confidence score, there are clear rules for when something needs a human to look at it, and the whole process is fully auditable. This isn't a black box, it's a glass box.
And when you put it side by side like this, the contrast is it's stark. On one side, you have the standard AI approach, which is often a black box that tries to replace your judgment. And on the other, you have the Llama Research approach, an auditable system that gives you probabilistic insights to structure and improve your judgment.
This one sentence from their own materials just captures the entire philosophy perfectly.
It's all about applying that executive-level discipline to the raw power of AI and building the whole thing on a foundation of governance and trust.
And that really leaves us with a powerful question to think about for our own work, right? Are we just looking for a smarter AI tool? Or are we trying to build a truly reliable system, one we can actually govern, audit, and ultimately trust with the big decisions?